Hello everyone, my name is Antasil, and today we'll be playing as Portugal again. I promised you an Empire of Portugal and Brazil video, so that's what I'll do today. I'll make it a short video, but I'll explain a bit more, so this is more beginner friendly. The other two videos on Portugal are a bit more advanced than that. If you can form the Empire of Portugal and Brazil, you can pretty much do the other steps from the other videos as well to get any achievement you want or even a world conquest. Now, Portugal starts out pretty weak with some debuffs, unstable republic, unreliable army, a small industry, only 2 research slots, and very little recruitable population. So you need to work around that. One of the ways to do that is to strengthen your old ties with your colony, your former colony Brazil, and get all that manpower as your cores. So let's get on that. We'll start with the focus tree. We're aiming for this branch here, the monarchism branch, where we first flip Portugal to monarchism and then incite a monarchist revolt in Brazil. That will cause a civil war in Brazil, unless you go through the process of actually boosting their non-aligned support, which we won't do. You intervene in that civil war, then you win, and then you reunite those kingdoms. Pretty straightforward. So we'll start with Estado Novo. As for research, there's no particular wish list. Just note that you're behind on pretty much everything. So you'll need to keep your industry up to date, invent planes at some point, keep your artillery up to date. Artillery is important for Portugal. You need recon at some point, I guess, and keep your infantry equipment up to date. As for the industry, we are starting with 2 military factories, so we'll just start by building a few more. 2 will do, and then we'll get a civilian factory. As for the Navy, just build a few submarines. For now, this is still pretty functional. Take the entire army and just gather them all up at Lisbon, so they are at the same spot. I always do like to switch around something here. This 2 battalion division is set to elite and just set them to reserve. That's much more fitting. I also like to change the icon so I can keep them apart from these guys. These are what are supposed to be my elite, and this button will means that these guys will receive equipment first and they will receive the best equipment. And since these guys are pretty much trash, they will stand in the back and cheer on the real heroes. Speed 5, let's go. The army has arrived at Lisbon, and I'll just move them to their next destination, which is this port here at Portuguese Guinea. Estado Novo is done, and we'll go for a royal wedding. When your first 150 political power is in, don't spend it just yet. We're saving it up for the traditional theorist. That's a royal wedding, and we'll go for the return of Duarte. Now we really have a lot of political power. We'll at least go for the traditional theorist here. Another good choice here is the financial expert. I'll get him too. We're getting some military factories here, so I'll just put one on towed artillery. We don't start with an artillery branch and put the second one on infantry equipment. Later when we have trucks, we'll take this one off again and put it on trucks. Do note that we have a steel deficit and that would really hurt our production, so I'm getting some steel from France. The Spanish Civil War has fired. In many of the Portuguese trees do we actually involve ourselves in the Spanish Civil War. Not in this one, at least not on historical focuses. Should the Carlists spawn, you can support a Spanish monarchy in the war. It's a fun thing to do, but it doesn't really get you anything. It offers you a focus where you can form an alliance with the Carlists. Meanwhile, Return of Duarte is done and will first promote monarchist cause in Portugal. 100 political power, I'm going to boost my stability a little. There are too many things eating into that, including this one. And we'll do restoration of the monarchy. Well ahead of time, but we'll have a look at what to do with the naval invasion. Now there's 5 infantry, a 3 cavalry, and a lot of trash. We'll set up a naval invasion with the infantry and cavalry, like so, all the way over here, and look for these tiles here This is a port with a victory point, so we'll set a division up there. And here is another one. That's your 5 infantry taken care of. Now there's some cavalry. This one's important because it might put you over the edge later on. There's a victory point here, but if you invade this tile, let's have a look. The invasion goes all the way to the next sea zone, and you can't possibly get your navy all the way over there. So that's why we're using a cavalry. We'll put it on a tile on top, and they'll have to walk the last piece. That's what horses are for. We'll put another one here below Sao Paulo, and the last cavalry here. We'll just put these on the tile next to it. Now Rio de Janeiro will be flipped to our side of Portugal, the one that we want. We'll ship all of our trash divisions over there so we can also hold it. The rest should go well enough for us to instantly capitulate Brazil at the moment of landing. Don't forget to research trucks at some point. Restoration of the monarchy is done, and we'll go for Monarchist uprising in Brazil. We changed flag, we got a new leader, and our stability is still trash. Let's set up the navy. We have a worthless admiral, but for this purpose he will do. We have a submarine fleet. Just expand this template a bit so more submarines will come to it, and they will automatically merge up with the reserves that are being produced. Now these submarines will have to do pretty much everything here, because if we put them on strike force, for instance, they can escort all the way over here. Select those other fleets. They have a red sea zone already over here. They're pretty much here for show. That's the Monarchist uprising in Brazil, and we'll go immediately for the Empire of Brazil. There's more than enough political power now. Probably a good idea to go for an infantry expert to gather up some experience for later. Here we are, the Empire of Brazil focus is done. Integralist Brazil declared war on the Empire of Brazil. Take the speed one tick down. We are looking for this focus here, the Kingdom Reunited, but then the Civil War has to be over. I think this will happen soon enough to just wait for it. Also, getting this focus will get rid of our political power gain and stability debuffs, so I think it's worth it to just wait a bit. Let's check. The naval invasions are launching. Now double click on your reserve templates, all 10 of them, and send them to Rio de Janeiro so they can help out there. Now all of these invasions should be alright. This one is a bit overkill even. This one you have to watch because you still need the victory point in this tile here. As you can see, we are landing on the victory points there. Just keep those troops there, otherwise the victory points will be taken back. Same goes for this one here, Vila Vela. It's no real harm to have a troop there. He does want to move out because he wants to join this front line. I'm worried that troops from over here might reach the victory points, and just delete all the orders so there will be no shuffling around. Trucks have been researched, so it's a good time to actually produce them. Put one factory on the top and just take it away from guns. Now we're landing at Sao Paulo. It does seem to be empty. If it's not empty, surround it and then take it. We can use the reserve templates to help out here. And our brave cavalry has arrived. He's not even necessary because we have already won. One of these invasions could go wrong. I've seen this one flip to the other side, and with the invasion here you will have a certain victory. Now is the time to go for the Kingdom Reunited. This event always pops up for Portugal, the collaboration governments, because your compliance in these territories is high enough. even if you're not going for the Machao Monkey achievement, it's always a good idea to just make these collaboration governments in the Raj and in China. You never know when they might be useful. Angola and Mozambique, they are not ready yet. There is a focus out there to get cores on them. And you can do whatever you want with Guinea-Bissau, but I don't see the point in giving them a separate government. It just creates more bureaucracy. They are not ready yet. Well, this is a surprise. Carlos Spain did spawn. Didn't expect that to happen. And they're a bit big as well. Might continue the video and support Carlos Spain, see what happens. And here we are, the kingdom reunited. What does that mean? It means we are now the Empire of Portugal and Brazil. United Kingdom of Portugal and Brazil. Now, forming the United Kingdom of Portugal and Brazil was the goal of this video. It's a bit short. Since the Carlists don't usually spawn in historical games, I'll just go for support Spanish monarchy in the war and show you what happens then. If you like what's happening, you can always set the game to unhistorical or to game rules where Carlos Spain will spawn. For now, it doesn't really matter. We have quite a few factories now. I'll set a few on the dockyards here, because whatever path we take after Carlism, it's probably going to involve invading the United Kingdom. So that's always a good idea. And here's the pop-up, the Empire of Portugal and Brazil. Well, here's my confusion. I keep calling it Empire, but it's really the United Kingdom of Portugal and Brazil. Whatever. Here's support Spanish monarchy in the war. And we'll go for assist the Requetes. We can now send volunteers. We can send 5. Well, that's a nice coincidence. We actually have 5. We can also send air volunteers, but it's a symbolic gesture, I guess. We'll be going down the focus tree to join the Carlist fight. But first, let's have some fun with volunteers. Well, that's my Vasco cleaned out. Let's join the Carlist fight. Now, we can't do the Royal Iberian Alliance yet because Carlist Spain needs to have restored their monarchy. That will take some time, so now we can rush for our second research slot. Since we can join the war now, let's set up a reserve army on the border here. Ooh, Italian volunteer. Spicy. Alright, that's good enough. Let's go. Fight alongside the Carlists. We are now at war. Good to check. Or can we go to war economy? No, we cannot. We'll wait for those volunteers to come back. At the same time, we'll just reassign our field marshal. It looks like this side of nationalist Spain is just plain old empty, so let's move in there. Volunteer forces have returned. More and more techs are streaming in. Let's assign the army to the field marshal. Let's first clean up this pocket here. Soviet volunteers and a lot of Republicans here. Here's the second research slot, and we'll immediately head towards the third, so get Ocme, Portuguese artillery and military research facilities. Well, this looks close to the end, and here we are. Carlist victory. A bit of a grind, to be honest, but hey, we made it. Spanish monarchy restored. And here's the Royal Iberian Alliance. And they're in our faction now. Well, that's the entire benefit. You have a faction, and the Kingdom of Spain is in it. Meanwhile, World War II is happening. If you want to go and get in on that, this is the moment. 50% world tension. Justify on the United Kingdom. Spike world tension like a madman. Doesn't matter. Alright, here we go. Very faint hope that this will work, but we can try. Whoa, the invasion actually launched. This is becoming traditional. Encirclement of London is complete. We even got some units in there. And that will boost our war score somewhat. Whoops. I have no armies in my home base. One thing for it, finish the war quickly. Oops, oops, oops. Well, made it. I got a reasonable amount of war score. Reasonable peace deal. We got a nice Porto Brazilian India. 4 million manpower, this is really why you do this. We got the 2 territories here, and if we were going for the achievement, we would only need to take China and Japan probably. Not going to do that in this video, it's been going on long enough. This was supposed to be a short one about the forming of the United Kingdom of Portugal and Brazil. That's in there. There's a bonus track for the Royal Iberian Alliance, whatever use that may be. It certainly looks nice, it's a nice color scheme. And another invasion of Great Britain. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.